Hello, my name is Levi, and this is the Wax Poetic Podcast. Welcome. My guest today is Xander. He is from the Minimum Venomum podcast, and the album that he has brought for us today is
Forced Witness by Alex Cameron.
All right. Now, I'm not familiar with this guy at all. So what is it? What's the meaning behind this? What brought this to your attention here?
So this one, I was initially given it as like a recommendation by my close friend Steven, because Brandon Flowers really likes this guy, Brandon Flowers of The Killers. I'm a big Killers fan. He does a couple of the backing tracks, as I think you saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed he's actually writing like a bunch of Killers songs as well on the past album, and they're currently writing a new album with him.
I didn't know that. That's a new fact for me. Thank you.
Okay, no, yeah, I'm doing my research on this. I am checking my shit out here. I
appreciate that more.
Yeah, he wrote like what is it, 5 tracks on the last album, and so far he's written 4 for their upcoming album.
That makes sense. The Man, did he write The Man? Because The Man is up his alley.
I don't know about that one. That's a good question.
Okay,
maybe I did. My research died before I got to individual
That's
tracks.
Fine.
Okay.
So, some context.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Cameron's a very sarcastic writer. He'll get real deep into a character and write a song from that character's perspective. For instance, his first album, I think it's, I completely forgot the title of that one. But his first album is about a lounge singer that's kind of failing, and like a bunch of songs from that guy's perspective. And Forced Witness is kind of a mix of, you're kind of like, it's like if you notice this through each song, it's very like various characteristics of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
So there's like, without complete context, there's some like, is this completely for real or not? And I'm curious, just not knowing him before listening to it, how it came off.
Yeah, you just threw me on this one, because when I listened to it, like I said, I had no idea who this guy was. And then I started listening to it and I was like, is this for real? But then I did kind of research him a little bit, and like a lot of his songs are it's very storyteller-ish, everything's got like a character that's from their point of view. And so it made sense after that, like once I realized that part.
It helps that they're super catchy, particularly this album is the Dad Rock album. And so there's a lot of just anthem-esque rock, like Country Figs. The second track is probably one of my favorites.
Yes.
And it contains one of my favorite sax solos by Roy Malloy. Who's his music partner. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, like when I looked up, I kept seeing the name Roy Malloy when I was looking him up. And I'm like, who the fuck is Roy Malloy? He was just, but I looked at him and he's like, he's this songwriting partner that plays the saxophone. And if you see the picture of this guy, he looks like the sexy sax man.
He is the exact definition of a sexy sax man.
Yeah, he's got that stash. I
adore Roy.
Recommend looking up Roy Malloy pictures. Getting lost in this weird like rabbit hole.
He's on a lot of the music videos too. In the background, ready to go. If you want, his third album, Alex Cameron's third album, I don't know if you listened to it at all, is kind of the exact opposite spectrum. It's a lot more thoughtful, and it's kind of the antithesis to this. Just because a lot of his music, it's one of those things where satire kind of like is too on the line. And so some people do embrace it, think that's like, oh, hell yeah, I love this character that's in this song, when you're not supposed to at all.
Yeah, I see that, because there's a lot of songs in my notes that I wrote about each song. I wrote creepy next to a couple of songs.
Was that Stub Muffin 69?
Stub Muffin 69. I'm like, this is a creepy song, but I get it, with the song title, Stud Muffin 69. Is like, I get it. It's an internet handle, and I see what's going on there. And
right.
The Hacienda was also creepy. And I was like, did he have sex with his girlfriend's daughter? Like, well, it's a story. So I get it. It's a lot going on there.
There's a lot. I get not entirely loving him and get like sometimes the kind of like, what is this that I'm listening to? But he's one of those, like, you kind of have to know the artist. And I think people like you figured it out, like, on listening to this album. You're like, okay, cool. There's something more going on with this. Just like, I do recommend listening to his latest album just to kind of get the opposite end.
Yeah, I just kind of stuck with this one album for this, just because I was like, well, okay. So I listened to it like probably like 10 times just to wrap my head around it, and I did look up some information about it. The one song that I thought was weird was Marlon Brando. And I did go down a rabbit hole with that thing because he mentioned feeling like Brando in 1999. And I looked it up and I was like, what was Marlon Brando doing in 1999? And the last movie he made, he made one movie after this, but in 1999, he made a movie in 98 called Free Money with Charlie Sheen. And he played a character that was like he was a prison warden. And the description on IMDb says he's a mix between Wimpy and Bluto from Popeye. So he's very like he's got this persona of toughness, but he's also a softie in the inside. Like if you challenge him to a fight, he's gonna back down immediately. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that it's not especially apparent when you just hear the lyrics, because a lot of it sounds crazy, but it might require a little digging and just knowing who the guy is to actually truly appreciate what's going on here. Yeah,
that's what I kind of like about him, and it is kind of always appealing to me. Is he's not like an incredibly deep artist, but there's something a little deeper. Like Killer's kind of like a little layered deeper than Killer's, because he's that music. But lyrically it's just a little bit better, I think, sometimes than Brandon Flowers, though I love Brandon Flowers.
Yeah, the song that has Brandon Flowers does remind me, like before I even looked anything up, I just listened to the album and I was like, this song sounds very Killers-ish. And Running Out of Luck, that was the song, and it was like very Brandon Flowers.
There's even a lyric in there that's just like, I swear to God, sounds like, I'm pulling up the lyrics. I should have had this already. No, it's great. It just has something with like neon boneyard and a neon boneyard.
Yes,
that's straight out of.
Yeah, it reminded me so much of Runaways.
Jamestown. Killers,
Runaways too. Runaway song, And beyond the Killers, so much. Beyond the Killers, it reminded me of two other artists.
Oh.
The first was Bruce Springsteen. Like kind of in his line delivery and the fact that he does like a storytelling kind of thing. And Bruce Springsteen almost always feels like a top of the head, just kind of a flow that's just like, let me tell you this about this guy I know. The second is the Gaslight Anthem, which I love. It's like a rockabilly kind of rock band, but they also remind me of Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if you've ever heard them, but they are a great band. I
haven't. I will now. There's I like that you mentioned Bruce Springsteen, because even Bruce is deeply sarcastic in a lot of his writing. Alex Cameron takes a lot, obviously, from Bruce, and I'm gonna look up the Gaslight. Who'd you say that was again?
Oh, it's the Gaslight Anthem.
Gaslight Anthem. Because Alex Cameron has a song called Gaslight on the third album.
All right.
Fact. Well. And it is just about gaslighting, like how it's another toxic masculinity song, but that one's super on the nose. If you're not recognizing that it's very poor behavior, you're a bad person.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously this album came out in like 2017. So I got to know, what was going on in your life when you like first heard this?
Good question. I was living, I think I just moved to Austin. So I was essentially kind of living alone, starting my first like real big boy job or just post-college job, and was listening to just like music wherever, whenever, all the time. And when my buddy Steven sent this to me, I think he sent me the Angel Olsen first. I think that's everyone's first song a lot of the times is the one with Angel Olsen.
Yeah.
Because the music video is pretty great. And it's directed by Jemima Kirk, who is Alex Cameron's wife. And she was on a bunch of stuff. I think she's in Girls. So some people may know her from that. And I just got into that. Didn't really care I didn't care to listen more beyond that. I'll just listen to one song for an artist before I'll dig any deeper into them until 5 months later.
Yeah.
And then same friend is just like, yo, I farther listen to more of that album. You should check out Country Figs. And I listened to Country. No, he sent me Running Out of Luck because of Brandon Flowers. And that's kind of how it went. And the reason I keep mentioning his friend Steven is he and I think in 2018, late 2018, he and I went to 3 out of the 4 concerts Alex Cameron did in Texas. He went to the one in Dallas, then he and I went to the one in San Antonio, and then I went to the one in Austin. And so essentially we followed him through Texas to the point where he was playing small venues, not huge venues. So it was kind of this weird road trip where we all
that's fun. Yeah, Cameron, just hanging out with one of your friends and just. Had you ever done that before for any other group or anything? No, it's all new to you.
New to me. I don't like concerts that much. I'm a weirdo.
What?
I'm not a big concert guy. I'm very much a studio album dude.
Okay.
Where I'm just I like a perfectly crafted album. Thank God for Steely Dan. Where I'm just that wouldn't happen live. I love that.
Yeah. Fuck all those fans that are cheering and clapping for
this
song because they love it. Just screw all them. I want to hear pristineness.
I want to hear pristineness.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know the word.
Pristinity. That's where I got this hat. It's the Cameron Malloy Associates. Let me see if you can see it.
That's not really what his hat says, but
that's CMA.
It's a CMA, yeah.
Yeah, it's their
it seems like a building firm. Hey, come check us out. We'll build a sidewalk for you in front of your business.
Yeah, it's kind of essentially what it is. And that's why I don't know. So they mean a lot to me just because I never really did that for a band, and I like small venues. And that friend of mine, this is probably gonna take it on a somber note. That really good friend of mine passed away recently, earlier this summer, and so I always kind of have. Thank you, by the way. So I always kind of have Alex Cameron is just kind of there. It's just a nice
tie you two together.
Friend. Yeah. Steven was just one of those people where he could really find that with anybody. Mm-hmm. He's kind of everyone's best friend, and that's actually what is engraved on his stone. His memorial stone is just like everyone's best friend because it's true. He was just one of those people we went to his service over the week, a couple weeks ago, and it was just so many people who just regarded him because he would have those types of connections with people where he would do those things throughout Texas, or they would have that one specific thing that he was passionate about with that person. Alex Cameron was just one of those many things that he and I had, and one of my fondest memories was seeing the show at, I think it was Paper Tiger in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been at any. High recommends. Hopefully that place is still open after Rona. We'll see. It's probably going to be bought up by developers and turned into a hookah bar or something.
Very likely.
And I chat with Roy Malloy occasionally on Instagram because I have a saxophone lamp that I'm going to give to him at the next concert he's at.
Please do that.
I don't have a good way of getting it, but I'm going to give him a saxophone lamp to take home because he's a beautiful boy.
Wow. Yeah, that really... I mean, you meet a lot of people in your life, and there's some people that you meet that just... I've met people like this that just kind of... They seem to exist outside of time, and they just sort of exist, and where they're just like, dude, it feels like you're always here. You're always somebody I can count on to be up at 2 a.m. Just, hey, let's talk. And so I feel like that's what was going on there with your friend there.
Good read. Yep.
Okay. Well, is there a song on here that is your favorite?
I think I've mentioned it 5 times already. It's 100% Country Figs.
Got Country Figs. Okay.
That piano riff at the beginning. Well, not even just the progression at the beginning is just so fun. It gets me pumped up. And there's lyrics that are hilarious in it. I think there's like, it perfectly encapsulates everything that I like about Alex Cameron. It's just like, it's an anthem. It's fun lyrics. There's the best Roy Malloy saxophone part. And then right at the tail end of the Roy Malloy saxophone part is when Alex Cameron comes back in after the solo, and it's just like you're just pounding the roof of your car, singing along, having a great time. And it's everything I love about just Alex Cameron in general and that kind of style of music.
You were a fan of this.
I am a big fan of this. I am curious because you seem kind of apprehensive. I'm curious if you had a favorite song off the album.
Honestly, I kind of like the Chihuahua.
Chihuahua one's good.
Yeah, I kind of like the Chihuahua. It was basically about internet porn, if anybody hasn't heard the song yet. But no, I did enjoy the Chihuahua. But it was also kind of about liking somebody that didn't really see you as somebody to love. It was kind of depressing at the same time.
The another song along that lines is True Lies, where that's the one where he's chatting with the person. He doesn't care if it's likely just a Nigerian scammer.
Oh, yes. Yes. I did love the lyrics of that one. It's like, you know what? Even if you are a Nigerian scammer, whatever, you've made me feel good for the day. So
right.
It's fine. It's fine. Whoever you are, thank you.
Good way of putting it.
Well, is there something that besides Alex Cameron, is there something or someone that you're listening to right now that's also when you're going on repeat for you?
Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks for asking that. I have it already pulled up on my Spotify because I've been re-listening to it so much recently. Are you familiar with Air, the band, the music group Air?
They've been around for a while, but I've never actually listened to them. No.
Yeah. I think they're French. They're essentially just like producers, make really fun, good, gorgeous, textured songs. They're good. Well, one of their guys released an album earlier this year called Concrete and Glass. And if you don't listen to the whole album, totally fine. It's super well produced. High recommends on it. But more specifically, the song "The Foundation" is so good. I keep posting it on my Instagram, trying to get people to listen to it because it's so good. Listen to this. So if you listen to this, folks, go listen to "The Foundation" by Nicholas Godin.
Also, I guess my final question is, can you sing your favorite line from this album?
Right now?
Well, you can sing it or hum it or air guitar it, however you want to.
I want to make sure I get it precise.
Okay.
Because it's my favorites. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm always ready for this.
All right, you ready for this, audience? Okay. The worst part about being homeless is waking up in a dirty, wet dream with a lap full of cum and a head full of steam.
And we've all been there. We've all been there. That was great. Thank you.
Anytime, dude. I'll sing that lyric to you. And if it puts you to sleep, if it wakes you up, whatever you need.
And all right. And also, you are in the Minimum Venomum podcast. I'm going to drop a link for that for people to check out as well.
Give that thing a listen.
Give it a listen. Check that out. I'm going to go ahead and thank you for coming on and talking to us and having a good time.
Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. All right. Thank you. Please check us out every other Monday and follow along on Facebook at Wax Poetic Podcast.